Welcome to the live stream. I am your host, Kevin Lee Father, Kevin Williams. I will be watching with you, fact-checking, and trying to keep up as best as possible with the lies of the President of the United States, who's currently trying to sabotage the United States postal system. Before we get going here, I just want to say one more time, thank you to everybody who on Thursday, my birthday, donated a ton of money to booksandbricks.org, an organization that sends girls to school in Kenya. We did it. We raised more than $450. That was the goal. That pays for one child to go all the way through high school in Kenya. We did it, and I'm still completely overwhelmed by your generosity. Thanks again to everyone. I've put you down on the lower line here. I'm going to update the crawl in just a second here to today's crawl. I will pull that up. But if I did miss your, if I missed your name in the crawl below, let me know. I want to make sure everyone gets credit for the wonderful work that they did. You guys are the best. Hi, Noel. Hi, Joanna. Hi, Rich. Hey, Stephanie. Anybody else who's in here and I haven't seen yet, good to see you. You know what? You guys talk amongst yourselves. Hi, Danielle. Good to see you. Green Room, good to see you. This has been delayed at least a half an hour. The president just got going about 2 minutes ago. I wanted to do a countdown. Also, I got this. This is going to open my garage door. Isn't that neat? That's a little circuit board. $12 on Amazon. You guys stay right there. I need something to drink, and I mean of the alcoholic variety. Actually, I don't. I'm going to get some poison anyway. Some of that sugar-free stuff that I'm drinking. I've lost 5 pounds. And even despite eating 20 pounds of cheesecake a day, I'll be right back and we'll get going with the conference. You guys talk amongst yourselves. I got myself a couple of drinks. It is 102 degrees here. 102 degrees in East Hollywood, and that's Celsius. That's how hot it is here today. Let's see, who else is here? Good to see everybody. Let's get going with the Trump.
We shall go to the President of the United States, Donald Trump.
And thank you for being here. Let me
You're welcome.
Provide a brief update on the China virus as well as our economic recovery, which is going really very well.
No reason for this conference today, by the way.
Nearly 85%.
The public was like, and Trump said, I'm going to do a conference at Bedminster. Okay. It's pretty damn hot.
Of jurisdictions all across our country are reporting a very steep decline in cases.
Nonsense.
And that's despite the fact that we have the #1 testing program anywhere in the world. We're up to almost 70 million tests, far beyond any other country.
Way ahead of us.
This week, cases nationwide have declined by 6%. The test positivity rate has fallen to just 6.5%.
What did he say?
71% #1 testing program anywhere in the world. We're up to almost 70 million tests, far beyond any other country. This week, cases nationwide have declined by 6%. The test positivity rate has fallen to just 6.5%, a 71% reduction from April and a 15% reduction from mid-July. That's a big reduction. The hospitalization rate for the virus has been reduced by half since April.
Arizona, 10.6.
And I urge everyone to apply common sense mitigation. We know that. And we
Georgia, 10.6.
And I want to thank the American people for
Alabama, 10.6.
really doing such a great job. The United
Mississippi,
States has now administered over
23.1.
70 million tests, more than all of the European Union combined. If you combine all of Europe, it's less than what we do. Millions
we got that.
Point-of-care tests are processed in less than 24 hours and many in under 15 minutes. Nearly 80% of all commercial lab test results are now returned within 3 days, so we've gotten that number down from about 8 days to 3 days. and that's only in the longer-term lab cases. But we have many 15-minute tests. We have some 5-minute tests. The turnaround time for federal surge testing sites is just 2 days. So when you send them out, despite the fact that you have a delivery time, which you can't do anything about, it's all the way down to 2 days. It's a very substantial reduction. Great job by...
Can't do anything about the delivery time for the tests. You have to put them in the U.S. Postal Service. It's so hard to find a mailbox nowadays. I wish we had all the mailboxes we had when I was a kid. We need to make America great again. Get some more mailboxes.
The people that do it. We are focused on aggressively shielding the highest risk individuals. Those living in nursing homes and long-term care facilities are less than 1% of the U.S. population, but account for nearly half of all fatalities. That's an incredible thing. So it's 1% of the U.S. population, but they account for nearly half of the fatalities from...
Yeah, and the other half of fatalities are not in nursing homes.
The China virus. That's why we have rushed nursing home funding, protective gear, and rapid testing equipment, and we will announce additional measures to protect nursing home residents.
MRSAs?
In the coming days,
What?
We've worked very hard.
What's a MRSA?
Half of the fatalities from the China virus. That's why we have rushed nursing home funding, protective gear.
Yeah, they really are taking away mailboxes.
And rapid testing equipment, and we will announce additional measures to protect nursing home residents.
MRSAs?
In the coming...
I can't, like, my
nearly
brain
half-
just can't even get that word. The additional MRSAs?
Half of the fatalities from the China virus. That's why we have rushed nursing home funding, protective gear, and rapid testing equipment, and we will announce additional measures to protect nursing home residents. In the coming days, we've worked very hard with nursing home
MRSA. That's at 129.21.
companies, and also with the governors, 50 governors all around the United States, and we have developed a very good relationship with most of the governors, and I think for the most part they're doing a really good job. They're focused very heavily on nursing homes, and when they need equipment that they can't get, remember they're supposed to get it, but when they can't get, we have tremendous amounts of equipment in stock. Thanks to my administration's...
The FDA just put out a list of equipment that we're short on, and it includes PPE and it includes testing supplies. Here it is, right here. This is from the FDA. Actually, this is the device shortage list, and you can see there's surgical gowns, latex gloves, non-surgical isolation gowns, sterile swabs, a real-time nucleic acid application system, general-purpose reagents. These are all things, their availabilities, every single one of them is limited supply. It's all a lie. This is from the FDA. This is published Friday. Yesterday, the FDA, right 20 minutes after Trump said, we've got all the supplies we need. There's so much testing. It's too much. Anyone who wants to get test gets a test. That's what it is. It's all lies. It's all complete nonsense, and people are dying. Oh, we've done more tests than the European Union. Yeah, we've had to. In the European Union, some people are going back to school.
Decisive action to save American jobs. We're currently witnessing the fastest economic recovery in American history. And that's because the foundation that we set previously, before the virus came and hit our shore, the foundation was so strong. We had such a strong foundation that we're recovering much faster than anybody anticipated.
That's not true.
It turns out that it will be a very, very strong V, and you'll see that in just a second. So retail spending has fully recovered and is now at an all-time high. That's not all-time for this month or last month. That's at an all-time high, and you see that.
Yeah, all-time means all-time. No all-time record is for this month. So you can just say all-time, covers your bases there, Trump.
With the chart, this was previous to the plague, I call it, the plague coming into our land and really affected 188, we're dealing with 188 countries. And if you see,
That's
we've
correct.
not only recovered, but we're at a much higher level than we were even then. That's an incredible number that nobody thought would even be possible. So we're currently witnessing the
Okay, this is just bullshit. This is what I thought I saw yesterday. This is from Reuters, by the way, not a left-wing liberal news source. We have actual numbers from the government. U.S. retail sales slow in July. Obstacles mount for nation's economic recovery. They slowed down. The all-time record for yesterday is not a thing. He knows at this point it doesn't matter what he says. It doesn't matter if there's any facts behind it at all.
Fastest
savings is way up. That's good.
Economic recovery in American history. That's an
Reuters,
amazing statement.
Am I not saying that correctly?
So retail spending is great. And
hey,
now,
Allison.
if they would.
Some retail spending is great, even though it's slowing down, according to Reuters.
Put up auto production has surged 28%, and that's your auto production, which is right there. So you'll see that that's now about even to where it was, and that was at an all-time record high, and we're already even. And if you had a chart for used cars, you'd see that used car sales are setting a record, and that's great for production because when the used cars are practically not available, they're very, very tight. That means you're going to make a lot of new cars. So that
there's plenty of used cars out there. I drive by the lots. There's a lot of used, practically not available. Is anyone suffering through a used car shortage? Is the Postal Service going around like gathering up all the used cars on trucks and taking them away? Is that what's happening?
that number is going to go up even beyond what it is right now, but that's a fantastic
Wait, how do you say it? How do you say the name of the news agency?
number. That's a number.
I've said it that way my whole life. Oilers, Reuters?
The equivalent of where it was, and that was a record. So you see what's happening with respect.
No, it was not a record. You can see on the chart over here that in 2019, in February, it was actually lower than 2018. So no, not a record.
To
Reuters.
The economy and
Yeah, what am I saying? Guys, just, you get what you pay for. Oh, that's right. Some of you, if you'd like to pay for this, go to kevinleefather.com. You can become a patron there, like many of the good people who helped contribute and send a girl to high school in Kenya.
the recovery and the stock market is almost at an all-time high. In fact, NASDAQ is at an all-time high. It's had 14
I'm not sure what NASDAQ is. That's what he says every time. It's NASDAQ.
days where we broke the record already over the last 2 months. So a lot of great things are happening. Through the historic relief package that I signed into law, we saved over 50 million American jobs, 50 million American jobs. And the unemployment rate is rapidly going down. You see that? You've seen that? And
Well, he didn't save them. They would just be furloughed and then they would come back if they're so. Okay.
I think you'll
I mean, the PPP was nice, but it was just a way of keeping people out of unemployment. Because had we not had the PPP, the unemployment numbers would have been 30 to 40%.
see it over the next 2 months, and you'll have a good report even prior to the election. You're going to have a very good report. I think you're going to have an incredible GDP. You're going to have a
Doesn't matter. We'll all have voted already because you're taking away the mailboxes. So we're all like, oh, get my vote in as soon as I get that thing.
tremendous
Turns out, well, they get like 80% growth in the GDP, and we're like, man, I wish I could vote for Trump, but I sent my ballot in already.
report on business, and a lot of it's going to be released, which is very fortunate prior to the election. I think the Democrats are going out of their way to try and do whatever they can to stop these kind of numbers. They don't like these kind of numbers because they think it'll hurt them in the election. I think
You know, that $3 trillion to spur the economy, the Democrats really want to... What? Such an idiot.
we all have to pull together, and we have to do the right job, and we have to do what's good for the American people. We were unfairly
How about giving some of the American people some of that money that they need to survive? That's also good.
treated by China because they could have stopped it. With that being said, China has purchased the most amount of corn.
Wait, he said all-time high? Around 1405. How can you see a time? Oh, 1405 of my broadcast. 1545, hold on. All-time high. That would be the cars. Let's go back. Let's see. He was talking about cars, so that would be about right there.
practically not available. They're very, very tight. That means you're going to make a lot of new cars. So that number is going to go up even beyond what it is right now, but that's a fantastic number. That's a number that's the equivalent of where it was, and that was a record. So you see what's happening with respect to the economy and the recovery, and the stock market is almost at an all-time high. In fact, NASDAQ is at an all-time high. It's had 14 days where we broke the record already over the last 2 months.
Listening for all-time pie. All-time pie.
So a lot of great
Barb heard all-time pie. Barb, you might be hungry. It's dinner time there.
things are happening. Through the historic relief package that I signed into law, we saved over 50 million American jobs, 50 million American jobs. And the unemployment rate is rapidly going down. You see that, you've seen that, and I think you'll see it over the next 2 months, and you'll have a good report even prior to the election. You're going to have a very good report. I think you're going to have an incredible
First time he said,
GDP.
okay, we're going to go back. We're going back for Barb.
Tremendous covered and is now at an all-time high. That's not all-time for this month or last month. That's at an all-time high, and you see that with the chart.
Oh, right there. Is that what you're talking about, Barb? All-time pie? Let's take a look here at the YouTube and see how delayed we are. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, well, you guys are about 10 seconds behind me, so it's tough to do the chatting back and forth here. But let's see if he says all-time pie here. Barb, let me know if that's what you're talking about.
And you'll see that in just a second. So retail spending has fully recovered and is now at an all-time high. That's not all-time for this month or last month. That's at an all-time high, and you see that with the chart. This was previous to the plague, I call it, the plague. All-time high.
Yeah?
That's not all-time for this month or last month. That's at an all-time high, and you see that with the chart.
Is that what he's talking about? I mean, it's kind of there, but not really.
This was previous to the
One more time.
now at an all-time high. That's not all-time for this month or last month. That's at an all-time high, and you see that with the chart. This was
Okay, yeah, you can hear it. You can hear it. Yeah, okay. All right, I hear that. It's not, you know what? I'm going to write it down anyway. What is that? 130.28. Give me a second. I'm going to add that in the draft. Okay. All-time pie. All-time pie. What was it? 130? 130.28. I like it. Thanks, Barb. Does that work for everyone? Yes, it does. Let's jump ahead forward here.
at an all-time high. In fact, NASDAQ is at an, and I can tell you specifically will own the United States. Can't let that happen.
Specifically, we're ahead of ourselves.
People,
Here we go.
We were unfairly treated by China because they could have stopped it. With that being said, China's...
And then it came here and you could have stopped it, but 5 million cases?
Purchased the most amount of corn in history. They last week they purchased the 2 largest days in the history of corn purchase.
Wow.
And a massive amount of soybeans, also cattle. So China's been buying a lot of things, and they're doing that to keep me happy, but they're dreaming about Joe Biden. They would love to have that happen, but I don't think that's going to happen. They are dreaming about him, and so is Iran dreaming about Joe, and so are numerous other countries. They dream about it because...
Is the United States dreaming about Biden, judges? They are. United States dreaming about Biden.
If that happens, they'll own the United States. And China, I can tell you specifically, will own the United States. Can't let that happen.
Specifically. He can tell you that specifically.
If you remember, China had the worst year they've had in 67 years prior
27
to the
years.
plague coming to
GDP was 6.1%. U.S. GDP was 2.1%.
our shores. And we are now starting to do really well. We're going to have a very good third quarter, maybe a great third quarter. And we're going to have an incredible next year, unless somebody comes up and quadruples taxes, which is what they're talking about doing. And also regulations. We've done more in terms of cutting regulations than any...
How is this not a rally?
administration in history by far, whether it was 4 years or 8 years, or in one case more than 8 years. We have, in less than 4 years, done more regulation cutting by far, and we're doing more as we go. Some of it's statutory. You can only do it at a certain pace. You have to wait 90 days. You have to wait 120 days before you can take the next step. We have tremendous regulation cutting coming. With that being said, we're going to have certain regulations to protect the environment and also safety. Small business optimism has come surging back. In June, it was higher than any month under the previous administration. Think of that. So small business optimism was higher than any month under the previous administration, and that is while we're going through a pandemic, a worldwide pandemic. You have a number like that, and when you see the numbers that we quoted just now as to what's happening with cases and all of the other hospitalization rates, a lot of tremendous things are happening.
And the deaths, and this is what I was talking about when I told you guys a while back about the Koyo effect, COVID yo-yo. It's, oh, look at, but our cases are coming down. Look at the cases, they're starting to come down. Okay, and then the deaths start going up, and now we're more than 1,000 people a day for the last 8-9 days in a row. And, oh, but look at the cases. The cases are going down. What about the cases? Well, what about the deaths? The deaths are way down. Oh, but what about the cases? The deaths are way down. Oh, the cases, and this is going to continue. Because when you're in an area like Georgia, Texas, wherever, when suddenly things get bad and the cases start skyrocketing, then you're like, oh, we better do something. Well, we're going to stay home. Should we go out to a picnic today? Should we go to the movies today? No, let's stay home. There's a lot of cases. And then the lagging factors happen, and then the cases go down. Well, the deaths are going up. This is what... Exactly, the Koyo effect. What was it? Beginning of July, so right after July the 4th. Yeah, about 6 weeks ago. This is the cycle that we go through, and we will continue to go through. Anyway, he's a big fan of Biden-Harris.
Happening. Industrial production is increasing at the fastest rate ever recorded. I mean, think of these numbers. I mean, how does that happen? Industrial production is increasing at the fastest rate on record.
Well, you get a virus, everything shuts down, you figure out ways to safely reopen things, and then industrial production comes back and they have to make up for the time that they lost. It's really not that complicated.
Which is ever recorded. Consumer spending is expected to grow at an astronomical rate this quarter, so we don't have the number yet, but it looks like it's going to be at an astronomical rate.
What is that? What is an astronomical rate? Because it just slowed down in July. We got that news yesterday.
I want to say that...
Guinness is rich. I find it a little too rich for my... It's basically a bread.
I want college football to come back. These are strong, healthy, incredible people. These are people that want to play football very badly. A great talent quarterback, Trevor Lawrence, called me on 2 days ago. I spoke to him a couple of times. He said, sir, I want to just tell you we want it back. We want to play. And he's an incredible quarterback, as you know, from an incredible school, Clemson.
Okay, since like a 21-year-old wants to play, I guess we should just put everyone's lives at risk. I mean, if it, you know, as long as he wants to. Good night, Barb.
And he's going to have a very good future in the NFL. He's got everything. He's got height, accuracy, a strong arm, and he's fast. Other than that, I guess he's got some problems. But he's got the whole package.
Well, he's a
I
Trump
watched
fan.
him last year running. He was faster than the backs that we're guarding. I think he's going to be great. But he's just a great young man.
Well, yeah, the quarterback should be faster than the backs that are guarding. This guy knows football.
Talked to him actually for a long time. They want to play football. And he made the statement that he feels he's safer on
the backs that are guarding. You know, the way the running backs are always guarding the quarterback.
On the field.
Yes. Yeah, okay.
He's safer on the field than he is outside of the field. He feels very safe. And if you look, the SEC, the Big 12, and the ACC are back. They want to come back, and I think they're coming back. The Big 10,
it's all tentative as far as I know right now. The Big 10 and the Pac-10 are shutting down.
Pac-12, are not, and I wish they would come back. And, I just want to say, sort of sad, because I've been fighting for football to come back. We're trying to help the NFL. As long as they stand for our national anthem, as long as they honor our flag and our country, if they start kneeling, I'm not going to be helping them much. They might come back, but I won't be watching. Neither.
Well, that's petty. So here's the thing. Get enough tests for the college athletes, and they can play. Have everybody tested, the day of the game, the day of the practices. They're doing it for studios. Kevin Lee Daughter's getting tested on a daily basis. She didn't even work yesterday, and they brought her in for a PCR test, which is great because kind of on our way. Timing worked out great. Make tests available. Stop with this nonsense. We got so many tests. I want to slow the testing down. A lot of people say we're maybe doing too many tests. No, get the testing out there. 5 point whatever million cases.
Well, a lot of other people. I think what the NBA did was atrocious. I thought it was disgraceful the way they kneeled.
Oh.
And their ratings are reflective of that. But I think football has to
NBA ratings are up.
To get smart. That's the NFL. Let's see what happens. But if they do it, they learned their lesson, I thought, 2 years ago when people started not watching and when people really weren't going to the game so much. A lot of empty seats all of a sudden. So they're going to learn
Not true.
that lesson again if they don't wise up.
Football and network television in general has ebbs and flows, but football ratings are up.
But I just want to say, so Trevor Lawrence, great, and some of the...
So Trevor Lawrence, great. Is that what he said? I just want to say, so Trevor Lawrence, great. What do now?
Not watching, and when people...
What was the phrase, Rich? What was that? What did he say the other day? What would happen? What happened would what?
Really weren't going to the game so much. A lot
like
of
his
empty
rallies.
seats all of a sudden.
Good call, guys.
Learn that
Both of
lesson
you.
Again, if they don't wise up. But I just want to say, so Trevor Lawrence, great, and
Trevor Lawrence, great.
The
what would mean
people, SEC, Big 12, ACC. I want to thank them and I want to congratulate them for coming back. I want to also mention that CNN had a story that will they blame Trump for football in the swing states. What a dishonest story that is. Will they blame me? I'm the one that's pushing them to come back. So they want to try.
And the reason that they can't play is because we don't have enough testing. And we didn't have any testing. In February, we had no testing. 4,000 total people. We screwed up the manufacturing of the tests. Your CBD.
And blame me. So them, and I guess the New York Times reported one person. There was one person in the story. One person said maybe it's Trump's fault. And I'm the one pushing him back. So I'd like to see college football come back. I'd like to see them come back proud and strong. I was very impressed by Trevor. I was very impressed by other people that called me. Players called me. Coaches called me. Coach O, you want a coach who's central casting for a movie? If you're doing a movie, you have to put Coach O as the head because this guy is central casting. But
don't call central casting because the background actors don't say lines. So you'll just have a coach on the sideline like, no, but it'll be background. So he'll be like, and it blurry face. You won't actually see. He doesn't know how central casting works.
When you have guys like Nick.
You know what, though? All the football players should join central casting. They'll get tested. Smart. Would that work? It would.
Saban and others calling for it to come back. They want it to come back. And these are great athletes. These are not people that seem to be at all susceptible to this horrible disease. And they want...
Another 15-year-old just died in Alabama.
Want to play football. And we have great testing, so you'll be able to test. And when CNN and the New York Times quoted one person.
10% of the COVID population currently are kids under 18.
One person. And I'm the one pushing, so we'll get it straight. I'm the one pushing for football to come back. I think if I wasn't pushing, you wouldn't have anything happening. So with that, we'll take...
Really? Yeah, if Trump wasn't pushing, then the players wouldn't want to play. Like this Travis guy would just be like, you know what? Maybe I'll just sit around eating Cochos.
We'll take a few questions. Steve, please.
Thank you. The U.S. effort to extend the Iran arms embargo at the UN Security Council fell apart yesterday. When will you trigger a snapback of sanctions on Iran?
Well, we knew what the vote was going to be, but we'll be doing a snapback. You'll be watching it next week. Yeah, you'll be watching it next week.
And if I could follow up, President Putin wants to hold a video summit on this subject.
He is.
Are you wanting to do that?
Probably.
No, looters are associated with property damage, stealing, and losses of life. Black Lives Matter, the organization itself, doesn't actually do the property damage, but some people who espouse. Now, there's fans of Trump who go into churches and shoot them up. So, should we vote against Trump because of some of his supporters? Well, it's up to you.
No, I think we want to wait till after the election. Look, Iran wants me to lose so badly. Because if they do, Iran is a whole different ballgame right now. They haven't been sponsoring terror because they don't have very much money to sponsor terror. And they know we just captured 4 Iranian ships, as you know, and we brought them into Houston. They were going to Venezuela. They're not supposed to be doing that. Iran would love to have me defeated. If I win, which I hope to win, how can you not when you see numbers like this, both on the virus and on the...
Yeah, that's what I do. I'm a fact checker, Alex. What do you think you're watching here? Hey, Mr. Fact Checker, check your facts.
Economy.
Does everybody know who Alex is? This is just an idiot. At Alex Streaming Live. Okay, Alex Streaming Live. Do you have a live? Alex, do you have a live stream? I want to check this out.
I mean, we should win. We should all be... keep this incredible thing going. And I built it once, and I'll build it again. I've already,
built it to 1% GDP. Crush that economy.
Hardest part is
and he'll do it again. He's done it 3 times, really.
done in terms of the economy, and that's with or without additional funds from Nancy Pelosi. They should have put the things in, whether you call it the care.
Alex, tell me the correct facts, because I'm just giving you actual 2.1% GDP. In the last quarter before the last quarter before coronavirus, 2.1% GDP. Trump said we'd have 4, 5, 6% GDP growth. Obama gave him more than 3% GDP growth. He's quashed that to 2.1% GDP. Then we lost 33% in the last quarter because of the coronavirus. And he didn't test in February when the virus was replicating and spreading itself. And now we have 165,000 plus dead Americans. Those are facts. Those are just facts. So, I mean, if you've got some alternate facts, go ahead and tell us. But alternate facts, they ain't facts. Let's get back to the president.
Act or phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, but
oh yeah, Alex, the more you tweet your little things right there, the more money I get, and the more this is great. So please let me see some of your facts. Oh, laughing face. Can't argue with that.
they didn't do that. They put it at the end, things that they're asking.
Thank you, Cousin Larry. 5.5 million cases in the U.S. right now because we didn't test in February when we should have. What's South Korea got? 305 dead? I haven't looked since they had 301. I'm just... So they had a little bit of an uptick in cases, like 100 more cases, and they've shut down Seoul again. Well, they actually didn't have to shut down in the first place. They haven't really shut it down, not like an actual shutdown that we consider for Europe, et cetera, but they're just like, these businesses are now closed, boom, 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 until we get the cases under control again. Again, for us, 165,000 deaths. South Korea, well, let's take a look at the actual facts here so that I know the actual facts. There's a site, worldmeters.info, that you can go and look at all of the stats, the actual facts. I'm going to pull it up on this screen over here so everybody can see it. Now we just have to find South Korea. They're quite a bit lower here. You have to look for Korea. Wow, they're way down on the list. I must have missed them. So there it is. South Korea, 305 dead. I was right on. 305 dead. Got the virus the same day that we did. Now, you're going to say, hey, Kevin, the United States has 6.6 times the population of South Korea. That is correct. So if we do this, I'm going to pull the calculator over here so you can see my math here. So 6.6 times 305. Oh, I put the point. Sorry, that's my bad. 305. This should come out to close to 165,000, right? Because everything's equal. They had 185,000 tests in February. We had 4,000. So, I mean, if that didn't make the difference, then 6.6 times 305 will be, I'm just ballparking here, I'm guessing 158,000. If that's metric, let's see. 2,000. So they must have done something right, and we must have done something horribly, deathly wrong. Spoiler alert, it was the testing. Anyway, those are some facts. I mean, they're facts.
For that have nothing to do with Corona, that have everything to do with radical left politics.
Mr. President, this week more than 40 states received letters from your postal service saying that those ballots for November 3rd might not make it in time. As president, isn't it your responsibility, since this is your postal service, to meet this critical need?
Well, we have a man in there for 2 months. He's a very talented man. He's a brilliant business person. He's done great. He's a very nice man also. And Lewis, he is working very hard.
I must have done the math wrong, producer Joanna. Yeah, it must be 200,000. So 6.6 times 305 must be closer to 200,000. I probably hit the wrong number on my keyboard or something. So my apologies. Mea culpa. I'm wrong. So.
But as you know, the Democrats aren't approving the proper funding for postal, and they're not
Democrats have already approved it. It was passed in the HEROES Act.
approving the proper funding for this ridiculous thing that they want to do.
All right. Good night, Andy. Thanks for joining us. I know it's late there. It's coming up on, midnight? You just passed midnight there? That's a guess. I could use my calculator, but apparently I suck at it. Because South Korea has way more dead than we do per capita.
Which is all mail-in voting. If universal, you could call it mail-in voting. Again, absentee voting is great. You request, I'm an absentee voter because I requested, I got, and then I sent in my vote. So that works out very well. That's what we've had.
Sent it in using was it mail? It was mail.
But now they want to send in millions and millions of ballots.
Millions and millions.
And you see what's happening. They're being lost. They're being discarded. They're finding them in piles. It's going to be a catastrophe. So, and this is beyond the post office. But Louis DeJoy is working.
Just FYI, no one has cast a vote in the federal election yet. So the votes in piles.
Very hard. The post office has for decades lost.
Why is Trump going to get elected for 4 more years, Alex? I'm waiting, Alex. I'll give you the benefit of the doubt here. I really will. I'm willing to learn. I'm waiting for any sort of evidence that you've got to offer. Yes, per capita. That's what we call it because Trump doesn't understand what per capita means.
Billions and billions of dollars. I read
14 people on Twitter, several more on YouTube, also on Twitch, and we're also on Facebook as well. So there's many more than 14 viewers actually. But you know what? That's fine. I'm happy. I'm just one guy. By the way, Thursday we raised. I challenge you, Alex. Put your money where your mouth is. If Trump is such a good guy, if you're such a good and generous, great American, donate a little bit of money to booksandbricks.org. A lot of people were donating $51 because it was my 51st birthday. So, Alex, I'd love to see you do that. I will give you full credit, and I will let you say that Trump is going to win. I mean, he won't, but put your money where your mouth is. Booksandbricks.org. You'll see it on the stream here coming at the bottom. That's a crawl. On the crawl, it keeps coming by. It's very simple. Booksandbricks.org. Go there, donate $51. And if I see an Alex on there, I'll give you a shout out. I'll say you're a better live streamer. Whatever you want. I'm totally willing to sell out. Moving on.
Numbers today that are unthinkable. And what they want to do now is hit the post office with millions of ballots from certain states. And if you look at what happened in New York and Virginia and various other places, it's a catastrophe. They're losing 20% of the votes. Nobody knows what's happened. So
that was they didn't lose 20% of the votes. Like, I'm not even going to go into it. And it was Paterson, New Jersey, and there was voter fraud by these guys who wanted to be on the city council, and it was ridiculous, and they caught them because it's really hard to commit voter fraud with mail-in voting. Really difficult.
We're going to see what happens.
When you go into a voting booth, when you go into a polling place, and this is the way it is in California. I just cast a primary ballot in California. When you go in there and you do your beep beeps on this computer screen, there's no tracking of it. You hit send. Now in California, it's one of the few states that gives you a piece of paper. So you have a paper trail. Then you inspect the paper. Yes, that looks like what's on the screen. Yes, send. That's the way it works in California, at least in LA County. But once you hit send, you have no idea if that vote is ever received. If it's gone, you can't track that. There may be some areas of the country where you can track it. I don't know. The beautiful thing in general, as far as I know, in California, in Washington, in Colorado, in Utah, in Hawaii, the states that have mail-in voting, universal mail-in voting set up already, you can track your ballot. And I'm sure that's the way it is in many of the states with absentee ballots, etc., because you want to make sure your ballot gets there. So get your ballot, and as soon as you do, send it in. And like I was telling Kevin Lee Daughter last time, I've never voted by party. I've never voted just straight Democrat, straight Republican, whatever. This time, I think I'm going to do it. I'm not voting for a single member of the GOP. I am done with the GOP. I'm done with GOP. Yeah, you know me. I'm done with GOP. Yeah, you know me.
But I do say this, universal mail-in voting is going to be catastrophic. It's going to make our country a laughingstock all over the world. You can't send out millions of ballots. And look at all of the tests. Look, you've seen them. Then there are many, far more. Just look at New York. Look at New Jersey. Look at the catastrophe in New Jersey. And New Jersey had more than just Paterson. Look at what's going on in Virginia. Look at what's happening with this mail-in.
So, Rich, the post office handles 181.9 million pieces of mail per day. Larry says they handle 470 million letters a day. I'll explain how that's possible. Pieces of mail contain words. Words are made from letters. So both of you, judges, are correct. So there's 400 million letters on average within those pieces of mail. So you're both right.
Voting, it's a disgrace.
It's laughing slocks.
Absentee is good. Mail-in, universal is very, very bad. There's no way they're going to get it accurately. They're off by 20 and 30%. And this is beyond post office. Now,
No. And this is beyond post office. What does that even mean? The post office. He's getting worse, right, guys? He's forgetting more and more and more. Rich, what's the phrase? What would happen? What do you now, Rich? What's the phrase, Rich? I cannot. My brain won't put it together in my head.
Now, with that being
children is the future.
Said, they want money.
Yeah.
For the universal mail-in.
Yeah.
Ballots.
Yeah.
And they're not getting it.
What would mean?
You know why? Because of them. We want money to go to people. They want money in order to bail out states that have done very poorly. The states that have done poorly, you know them as well as I do. These are run by Democrats, usually radical left Democrats. You take a look at what's happening in Portland. And we'll go into Portland.
Portland is not a state.
We have to be asked. We'll go into Portland, straighten it out in 1 hour, like happened in Minneapolis.
Did not happen in Minneapolis. He did not go in. The governor of...
Go straighten it out in 1 hour. We will straighten it out so fast, but they have to ask us. So
what do now?
They need money, but they're not willing to approve them.
By the way, we rewatched the Always Sunny in Philadelphia episodes. If you have Hulu, it's on Hulu. Season 10, episode 1. The story I told of why Charlie was so drunk playing baseball, completely wrong. The way I remembered it, I was conflating another movie or like maybe my childhood, my college days. I don't know. Either way, what do now? Gotta watch it. Hilarious episode.
Money that they need. If they can't get the money that they need for universal mail-in voting, I don't see how they can have it. And that's not only post office, it's also for the voting itself.
What? Oh, I think he's talking about the $3.6 billion that they're asking for the election, not just for the safety gear, et cetera, et cetera.
Does Postmaster DeJoy have your backing for the actions that he's taken in the last several weeks?
Yeah, he's a fantastic man. He wants to make the post office.
Better question would be, why did you say that you haven't had any discussions with him when you had a private meeting with him last week? What about that?
Is great again. You ever hear the expression? He wants to make the post office great again. The post office is a catastrophe.
Mail sorting machines nationwide, that's one of the things.
I don't know what he's doing. I can only tell you he's a very smart man. He'll be a great postmaster general.
671, somebody can fact check on me, 671 different mail sorting machines taken out of commission across the country in high residence areas, high density areas, which means Democrats. So he's slowing down the mail specifically in urban areas that tend to be Democratic, of course, because Democrats like people, so they live near them.
And he needs, obviously, if you're going to do these millions of ballots out of nowhere, he's going to obviously need funding. But the Democrats aren't willing to provide other things, and therefore they're not going to get the funding for that. But you are going to...
Here's what the Democrats should do immediately to make sure the election happens. No, we'll take the money from it. We'll take it. But they have to win the election. After the election's done, give the states as much money as you want. And it's not just left-wing liberal Democrats. It's not. That's nonsense. It's money for the states in general. All the states get some, like all that money that we've got sitting around so that we can do that $400 of unemployment. Still hasn't come through. I should have saved that. Oh, I might have that letter right here. Hold on, I don't. I may. Doesn't matter. The last 2 weeks, Kevin Lee Daughter has gotten $81 a week in unemployment. That's just because of the quirks in the system. That's why we need that extra $600. Because how can you live on $81 a week? I mean, you could suck off your dad's wallet for the rest of time. Yeah, apparently you can. I didn't. Yeah. No, she's great, and she brings so much more to the table. But no, she has been getting the $600, and that's fantastic. And she's been able to pay some bills, and she's been able to save a little bit of money and contribute. Plus, she's vegan, and I'm like, okay, you're paying for your food now. So $81 is not going to cut it.
Have a catastrophic situation with universal mail-in votes. And on top of it, the Democrats aren't willing to give the people the money and the post office the money.
Mr. President, you said a catastrophic situation is going to happen, but what are you doing to ensure that that doesn't happen? Because wouldn't these problems raise questions about the election results if you win?
Well, the problem with the mail-in voting, number one, you're never going to know when the election's over, okay? I mean, they called the election in New York for Carolyn Maloney. They shouldn't have done that. I think you should redo that election. And the opponent...
No, they had all the ballots. It just took them a while to count them. It wasn't like ballots were still coming in 6 weeks later.
Opponent is screaming. They can't believe it. Ballots are lost. Ballots are defrauded. It's a total...
Balance? Did he say balance? Go ahead.
Number one, you're never going to know when the election's over, okay? I mean, they called the election in New York for Carolyn Maloney. They shouldn't have done that. I think you should redo that election. And the opponent is screaming. They can't believe it. Ballots are lost. Ballots are defrauded. It's a total mess.
Balance.
And they called it for her. The reason is because I've been using it as a case. So, look, we are going to have an election.
They called the election not because they counted the votes, but because Trump has been using it as a case. And the only reason he has it as a case is because we do more tests than anyone. If you don't test, you don't have cases. I got nothing.
That takes place on a beautiful day, November 3rd.
It depends on the jurisdiction. Linda, your question, are mail-in ballots read before the election? It depends on your jurisdiction. Some will actually run them through the counting machines before the deadline of the election, if say 8 p.m. on November 3rd. And that's why, and on any election, that's why in some jurisdictions you'll get an immediate count that comes from the polling and from the absentee ballots or the mail-in ballots, same thing. Some will, of course, like California takes forever, 7 days to count all the votes because there's so many people. But some can't, some jurisdictions will not allow any votes to be counted until the election is over. And some will count some in advance, and it's all secrety and people have to swear to. Anyway, it's this skull and bones. It's all skull and bones.
And usually at the end of
face, I rest my face.
the evening, they say, Donald Trump has won the election. Donald Trump is your new president. Whatever they say, you know what? You're not going to know this, possibly, if you really did it right, for months or for years. Because these ballots are all going to be lost.
For years.
They're going to be gone. And just take a look at a smaller basis.
Here's a question for you guys. Do you guys know if you have ballot boxes locally? Not post office boxes, but ballot boxes at your local city hall or whatever. Everywhere I've ever lived, there's been ballot boxes. So you don't have to put a stamp on the ballot. You just take your ballot and you put it in the ballot box. It's not a post office box. Is that a universal thing in this country? And why not?
But it's great tests. We're doing tests. I mean, you could call them polls. You could call them tests. Look at...
Yeah, Larry, Canada uses paper ballots, but they're metric ballots. So you vote by tens, and it's a lot easier. Here, we like, here's a gallon of ballots, here's an ounce of ballot, there's 16, and like 4 times 16 is like 64. Like, it's ridiculous, but we refuse to do it the right way.
What's happening?
You have ballot boxes in grocery stores? Yeah. So those might be suggestion boxes, Danielle. You might want to have...
all over the...
Yeah, a bushel of ballots. That's what, we have... Last time I voted by the peck. You guys hectares. You're like, here, hectare, take all these ballots and give them to the election. That's harvesting. Because you harvest a hectare. That's correct. I didn't even ask the judges. They rooted that correct.
The country where you have universal mail-in. Wait a minute. The ballots are lost.
Okay, he's
There's
lost.
fraud.
Speaking of lost, let's go back and listen to what he's saying there, because
you could call
he drove that truck right into the wall.
them polls. You could call them tests. Look at
What? Let's go back
years.
again. Yeah.
Because these ballots are all going to be lost. They're going to be gone. And just take a look at a smaller basis. But it's great tests. We're doing tests. I mean, you could call them polls. You could call them tests. Look at what's happening all over the country.
What?
Where you have universal mail-in. Wait a minute. The ballots are lost. There's fraud. There's theft.
Did he just conflate testing and polls and ballots? Coronavirus? Is that what he was doing there? What the hell is he talking about?
It's happening all over the place. Now, we're going to do it with this whole vast, big section of the country. It's crazy.
Rich Max says, LAVote.net says, recruitment and selection of drop boxes for the presidential general election is underway. Locations will be made available 30 days before a general election. Good, because as I showed you guys yesterday, when I looked it up, I said ballot boxes and it said salad fox. So...
Rich, you have made it so plain that you are opposed and do not trust mail-in voting. Is your Postmaster General using the agency of the Postal Service to create delays?
No, not at all. He would love to see it happen. I didn't speak to him about it, but I will tell you this. I would imagine he would say, number one, they didn't give me the funding for it because it's sitting in Congress.
By the way, this is all just a setup. It doesn't matter how great it goes. It's all a setup so that if he loses, he can claim it's a rigged election and it should have been, I have to do it again. My supporters, Second Amendment, and we're going to go to a civil war. So I am surprised. I said he was going to start a war because, again, if things get close and it looks like he's losing, I think he starts a war. Thinking that, America won't get rid of a wartime precedent. In fact, even with the virus, he was calling himself a wartime president. He lost this war big time. Here's the deal with the post office. This is what's going on. I don't know this for a fact, but it makes sense. The reason that he got Roger Stone free is not because he's Roger Stone's buddy. Remember, Paul Manafort was never freed by Trump. He never pardoned him, but he pardoned Roger Stone because Roger Stone was the dirty trickster who was dealing with WikiLeaks, Julian Assange, and Russia to get the information on Hillary that ultimately won Trump the election. Roger Stone is involved in this somehow. He's a free man, and there's a reason he's a free man. Trump wants to win. If Trump doesn't win, Trump goes to jail. Is that a conspiracy theory? I won't call it that because I'm not a conspiracy theorist, but it's using the information that we already know about Roger Stone and that we already know about the previous election and putting two and two together. Call it QAnon.
It's because they want $1 trillion to bail out states, just so you understand what they want. They want $1 trillion to bail out badly run.
There's a lot of lady asking questions. He's going to run away soon.
On Democrat-run states, okay? That's what they want. They're not giving the money to the post office. They have to give the money to the post office.
The steps the Postmaster General is taking are creating some delays now.
No, the steps he's creating, yeah.
Are you trying to discourage?
No, not at all. The steps that he's taking are trying to stop the tremendous losses that have taken place for many, many years. He's trying to streamline the post office and make it.
Can he do that since the post office has run this way since, 1812 or whenever, 1789, however long, it's in the Constitution. So however long it's been that the post office has been running a little bit behind, but still delivering the mail, sleet, no hail, no snow, no whatever, can he just wait till mid-November to start making these changes to save some money? Because we have an election, and that's kind of an important thing in a democracy.
Great again, okay?
80 days before an election, sir?
Well, wait a minute. You just threw.
There. Good question.
Look, I just read last night. He's trying to stop the tremendous losses that have taken place for many, many years. He's trying to streamline the post office and make it great again, okay?
80 days before an election, sir?
Well, wait a minute. You just threw. Look, I just read last night that now New Jersey's going to try the universal mail-in voting.
Yeah?
Well, they didn't know this, so now all of a sudden New Jersey's going to be hit with millions of ballots to be sent out. They didn't know anything about this. So how does a postal service...
What's the logical jump there? And when I say a lot, that's a very loosely used term, like a Russian hooker and a Ritz-Carlton. But what is he saying?
That doesn't know about it. Now all of a sudden New Jersey's supposed to take out, and millions of ballots are going to be sent all over New Jersey.
Yeah.
And if you look at some of the things they say, like take the state of Nevada, take that.
Everybody gets a voter guide mailed to them, right? So all the eligible voters in the state, in at least in Washington, in California, we all get voter guides. As people out there. Not Rich, because you're in LA. I know what you get. Linda, where are you? Steph, I know you're in California. Kim, where I don't know where you are. Green room, keep quiet. You're in Ireland. Does everybody get a voter's pamphlet in the mail? I'm curious because I don't know.
Scam that's going on over there with the clubhouse politician governor. Take that, where the votes don't even have to be in till they get counted 7 days after November 3rd. That means if Nevada's a very important state, I think we have a great chance of winning that state. if the votes don't have to be in 4/7 and they're not counting the votes 7 days later, that means...
As long as they're postmarked, yeah, that's the way elections work. They've always worked that way. Same thing with the military. Sometimes the military votes will come in weeks late. Depends on where they're coming from. It could be a couple of weeks. There's obviously a limit, but yeah, as long as the vote has a postmark on it by the deadline on election day, it's a valid vote.
How are they going to predict a winner on November 3rd?
Mr. President.
They're not going to. They don't have to predict a winner on November 3rd. It's only recently that they predicted winners on November 3rd, and the reason being is because we didn't have mass communications. This country is older than telephones. What would happen is that they would count all the ballots, weeks would go by, then the Electoral College members would all get together and go to Washington or Philadelphia or wherever the city in question happened to be, and then they would have the Electoral College and choose a president. That's why we have the Electoral College. But this whole we got to know on November 3rd, not the way the country was designed, ever. Impossible to have it that way.
Whether a ballot was automatically sent to somebody, or if...
No, absentee is okay.
Okay, but once the ballot gets into the mail, it doesn't matter. The workers have to sort it. So the bottom line is there must be more resources for post offices across
But
the
the
country.
Democrats are not approving the resources. You're right. There has to be more resources. I agree. Because all of a sudden the post office is tripling up in size. The problem is the Democrats are not approving the funds necessary. It's in there. Now they have $25 billion. I've
Already approved it.
seen $15 billion. I've seen a lot of money. I don't know how you're going to spend that much, but that's what they're saying. They're saying, so not only do they want $1 trillion to hand out as welfare to all these states that are
As Weijia Jiang, she always asks good questions, and then he runs away.
run by Democrats
Why don't you ask China? Why don't you ask China that?
doing badly, they want $25 billion for the post office. But they're not approving it. Now, what I want is a lot of money, thousands of dollars, to go to people
That's it. What I want is a lot of money.
because they need money. They really, despite the good numbers.
No, not sample ballots. A voter's guide. It's a booklet, and it has, like, this guy's running for congressman in District 1. Here's this proposition. Here's the details of the proposition, for and against. Voter pamphlet, right? That's a thing outside of Washington.
Despite numbers like that, they need money to live, and I want that to happen. The Democrats don't care about that. They just want to give bailout money to their friends running big states poorly.
Mr. President, should you be looking into canvassers and ensuring the United States,
He's stuck around longer than I thought he would here.
the people of the United States,
Go ahead.
mailing...
Do you want to give Edward Snowden a pardon and bring him back? You once suggested that...
Well,
he
I'm going to
was
look at
racist.
it. I mean, I'm not that aware of the Snowden situation, but I'm going to start looking at it. There are many, many people. It seems to be a split decision. There are many people think that he should be somehow treated differently, and other people think he did very bad things. And I'm going to take a very good look at it. Okay? I mean, I've seen people that are very conservative and very liberal, and they agree on the same issue. They agree both ways. I'm going to take a look at that very strongly. Edward Snowden. Yeah, please.
No, as long as he's taking a look at it, as long as it's strongly, then I think we're covered.
Do you agree with Dr. Robert Redfield, who earlier this week said if America doesn't
Head of the CDC.
follow public health guidelines, we could be in store for one of the worst falls we've ever faced from a public health perspective?
No, I mean, you can't compare it to
Green Room, I wish Snowden well. Yeah.
1917. That was incredible. That was the worst ever by far. That was, you look at they lost
It's 1918. Was that 100?
possibly 100 million people. No, I don't agree with that. But if you look at these numbers, they're coming down very substantially. And I do believe that Americans, many are wearing masks, which is a good thing. Again, some people thought that you shouldn't wear masks. You know, when this whole thing started, Dr. Fauci, who I like and respect, said don't wear masks, okay? And so did Dr. Redfield. And then all of a sudden it
That was number 90. 1917. That was number 90.
was like everybody should wear masks. And that's okay. People can change their mind. But wash your hands, good hygiene, all of those things, I think people are really doing it to a level that they've never done before. And when you look at
Again, Robert Redford said this could be the worst health crisis in decades. Oh yeah, well, people are washing their hands even more. The people have never seen anything like it, and that's.
Look at the numbers, the way the numbers are coming out. I mean, it's very impressive when you see what's happening. By the way, Florida doing well. You see that? And hospitalization.
Florida doing well. Really? Hold on. Let's pull up the tracking project here. So this is the COVID exit strategy. Florida, 17.1% positivity rate. That's doing well in Trump's book. Current cases, 6.46 new. I'll say it this way: 6,460 new cases in Florida. Just yesterday, 6,000 new cases. 17.1% positivity rate. Doing super, super well. Let's pull up another chart here. Let's go over to our friends at Topos and we'll take a look there. Topos says he's talking about hospitalizations in Florida. So they may be coming down because, again, there's that lag factor. This is the Koyo effect that we talk about. New hospitalizations, we can just do it this way for Florida. It's not that far down. Yeah, look at that. Doing super well. Up 207% since reopening. Not on the way down. So he's bragging about new hospitalizations in Florida. Not a good sign right there. But so many places doing so well. That's not well. That's the worst it's ever been.
And normally you would have had to build more like we did for the first surge. We've done it right. We closed it up. We had the greatest economy in history.
Never closed it up.
We closed it up.
Oh, wasn't the greatest economy in history?
We understand the disease now. Nobody knew what was hitting us, right? Nobody knew that old people would be very, very susceptible, especially if they have heart and diabetes.
We knew that very, very early on.
Diabetes problems and other problems. That old people would be very...
So, yeah, we went to go pick up Kevin Lee Daughter's prescription at Rite Aid yesterday, and it was closed because of a power outage. It's still closed today, and the lights are on, so I don't know what's going on. I don't know if that was blackout or not. But Kevin Lee Daughter, this was her day to do laundry, and she's so bummed that she can't do laundry today because of the blackouts. If anybody doesn't know what's going on, it's 180 degrees here in Los Angeles County right now. So they're having blackouts in California, which means the power company doesn't have enough power for everyone. So yesterday they had to shut down power to more than 100,000 customers. And they'll roll it. They'll do like an hour here. You guys don't get any power. Then over to the next grid. And now, no power. Rolling blackouts, yeah.
Very susceptible, and young people would be extremely good with it. If you look at the percentages, there are a tiny percentage that have problems, especially the big problem.
What could mean?
I think that we're doing very well. We're on our way, and we're also opening up.
Doing very well. We're on our way to more death.
Up our economy, and our economy is going to set records. And if stupid people aren't elected next year, we're going to have one of the greatest years that we've ever had.
I think that's an endorsement of Biden.
Mr. President, I have a quick question for you.
Jennifer, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. You've already taken action on TikTok and WeChat.
Yeah.
Which other Chinese tech companies are you looking at
Oh, and not looking at them strongly, a number of them, he's not going to know any.
banning from operating in the United States?
Well, the big thing is Huawei, right? Huawei's not here, and Huawei I'm not allowing. And I've told European
Wow, that's been like 2 years. She's not talking about that.
countries and others. Australia has been fantastic.
He's calling, but he didn't say who. So he's saying if you don't elect someone stupid.
As an example, but Huawei's not coming here. And we told certain countries that we're thinking about Huawei. That's
Right, but we're talking about like right now, TikTok, etc.
okay. You can use them, but we're not going to be sharing intelligence. And they've all backed away. You look at the UK, it looked like they were going that way, and now they've backed out.
I think he's a stupid one, Babe.
Scotland Yard.
Are there other particular companies?
There are well, yeah, we're looking at other things. Yes, we are. We are.
Mr. President, you say
Which
that you
ones?
want the mail to
Oh,
be processed
we are.
as quickly as it can, but why is your postal service dismantling these mail sorting machines across the country at this time?
Well, you'll have to ask him. I know this. He's a very efficient operator,
We can't ask him. He doesn't do press conferences and they're not answering the questions. He just completely reorged management at the Postal Service. and is not answering the phone.
Good up.
And good luck sending him a letter.
But again, he needs money to operate if you're going to hit him with millions of ballots. And if you ask him, he will tell you, and he'll tell you very nicely, you have the money, it's sitting there, it's ready to go. The Democrats don't want to approve it, but I want money for other things, too.
Oh, yeah, I don't know if I finished my thought earlier. Give them the money. Do all the Republican stuff that they want. Yeah, here, because we want it too. Let's give the American people the money. Let's get that money out there. Then win the election. I think I did finish this thought. Give the states or whatever the other projects are, fill that gap in, because you're going to have Congress, you're going to have House, Senate, and the presidency.
I want money to go to people so they can live very nicely, because China caused the problem. They didn't.
I would like to live very nicely. I would like Heavenly Daughter to get more than $81 a week. That I would also like that. By the way, she's been working. She put in a 16-hour day on Thursday at the studio. So good for her.
On the campaign, will you say now that Kamala Harris is eligible to run and be vice president or president based on
Here we go.
born in Oakland, California?
So I have nothing to do with that. I read something about it, and I will say that he is a brilliant lawyer, that I guess he wrote an article about it. So I know nothing about it, but it's not something that bothers me.
But, sir, when you do that, it creates...
Why do you say that? I just don't know about it, but it's not something that we will be...
She was born in Oakland, or wherever she was born. I don't know. It's Oakland, right, guys? Where was Kamala born? She's Oakland, I think. Anyway, she was born in the United States. She's eligible to run for president. That's kind of...
pursuing. Let me put it differently.
President, you know.
Let me put it differently. Don't tell me what I know. Let me put it differently. Let me put it differently.
What? What did he say? Hold on. Go ahead.
But, sir, when you do that,
Yeah.
it creates...
Why do you say that? I just don't know about it, but it's not something that we will be pursuing. Let me put it differently.
President, you know.
Let me put it differently. Don't tell me what I know. Let me put it differently. Let me put it differently. To me,
Don't tell him. It's true. Don't assume Trump knows anything.
it doesn't bother me at all. I don't know about it. I read one quick article. The lawyer happens to be a brilliant lawyer, as you probably know. He wrote an article saying there could be a problem. It's not something that I'm going to be pursuing.
Is she eligible, sir?
I just told you. I have not gone into it in great detail. If she's got a problem, you would have thought that she would have been vetted. You would have thought that she would have been vetted by Sleepy Joe. Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. President, sir, I just want to ask you, after 3 weeks of absolutely no deal, you have been ragging on Democrats constantly. Why not come to the table personally and sit with them? I mean, I know that Speaker Pelosi and Minority Leader Schumer were in the Oval Office in December 2018. That did not go so well. Everybody in the world saw that. Why not invite them? If they don't want to come, that's on them.
So I think we've done very well. We've had 3...
There's no deal. I don't have my money. The post office doesn't have its money. My daughter doesn't have its... nobody has their money. How is that done very well? That's not... Is that what's in the art of the deal? Page 1. You should not talk to people, and then that'll go great. Step 2. Inherit $400 million from your dad. Step 3.
Sit with them. I mean, I know that Speaker Pelosi and Minority Leader Schumer were in the Oval Office in December 2018. That did...
Oh, for the Daniel, why are you such a hassle? Interesting. So Joanna just said he's a lying sack of rude shit. Joanna, watch your language, young lady. He didn't read it, and did Joanna's comment? Interesting. So it's being censored beyond YouTube. So somewhere between YouTube and the Restream chat window, it's getting censored. So hold on, let me try something. I think I can bring the window up here. Hold on. Let me say fuck in the window. Let's see what happens. I can do it. You guys all wish you were me. Shit. Okay. Or shut. Lizzie can swear as much as he wants. Yeah, so I don't know where the problem's coming from. But douche, my friend, douche.
Not go so well. Everybody in the world saw that. Why not invite them? If they don't want to come, that's on them.
So I think we've done very well. We've had 3 phases. We're into phase 4. We've gotten everything we wanted. And we've also gotten a great economy. All you have to do is take a look at these charts. Our economy is doing good. But we want different things than them. I want money for the people. They want money to bail out Democrat governors and Democrat mayors. Listen to me. My people are doing very good.
And if I'm the reporter, but listen to my question. Listen to my question. Sir, we're asking the question because you're not clear.
And my people call me. They're in the office. They call me when it's right. Nobody knows the deal better than I do. When it's right, I'll meet. But right now, it's not right. They want $1 trillion to bail out badly run states.
So he's not going to meet with. He wants to get the money to the people. That's all he cares about. But he's not going to actually meet with anybody.
They're Democrat. They're Democrat states. Will something happen? Possibly. But I want to tell you, the country is doing very well right now.
You know what I should do? Because you guys are just like swearing up a storm. For those of you on Twitter or elsewhere, the YouTube chat room is just a mess. Kevin Lee Brother is in the YouTube chat room. I'll tell you what, guys. I'll just translate for you. Let's see. Bev Klein, that probably got through because I think douche gets through. Rich Mack says fuck. Kevin Lee Brother says shit fuck. No, Bev, you did get... Okay, so Bev said douche about something. Danielle, the moderator, is approving all of the comments they're getting through. Interesting. Lizzie's just swearing up a storm, but that's every time. Since Lizzie's off there in Twitch land. I don't even know. Every day I get an email summary from Twitch, and it's like, you had 1 viewer. And it's always Lizzie. So I'm like personally keeping tabs on Lizzie. This is all supposed to be randomized. Kevin Lee Brother, you said boo, and it got through. So, yeah, Lizzie Dog can just put... Oh! Yeah, no, Lizzie Dog is getting through as well. So, yeah. I don't know. I don't swear right now in the YouTube room. It's been hard enough this week with YouTube. Just getting the chat to work through Restream. And I did talk to Restream, and they're like, that YouTube keeps changing things. We haven't changed anything. So I've been resetting things. I did have it for a second where YouTube would... it would say it was an upcoming video, and then I could post a link, and then you guys could go in and chat before the broadcast started, which was great because people were starting to come into the chat room. Chris Wilson, not Williams. It's probably Chris Wilson's. This is probably, let's see. I'll approve Stephanie saying shit fuck, and we'll see if it comes in. Lizzie fuck nugget. See, just... Tell you what, guys. You guys all text Lizzie what you want to say in the chat room, the nasty words, and Lizzie can post them for you. Oh, Henny is in. So we have a secondary user in Twitch. So, guys, go find me on Twitch. Lizzie, I don't even know how they find me on Twitch, but I'm there. So, Lizzie, tell people how to find me on Twitch if they really want to swear. Because that's what Lizzie does. She just goes in there and just vents. Okay, here we go.
We can live very happily with it, without it, but I'd like to do it because I want to give money to the people. I want to put money into the people's hands. They want to put money into politicians' hands so that the politicians don't look stupid. Okay.
Yeah, last thing you'd want to do is look stupid.
Steve Bliss.
You've had some differences with your Defense Secretary, Mark Esper. Do you have confidence in his leadership there?
Mark Jesper? Did you call him Jesper? Oh, okay. Some people call him Jesper. No, I get...
Nobody calls him Jesper. So Trump mishears the guy who's wearing a mask. Jesper? Did you call him Jesper? A lot of people call him Bish. A lot of people. They call him Mark Yes, sir. Not Jesper. No one calls him Jesper. I don't know. Maybe someone calls him Jesper, but why would you even say that? Oh boy! But Trump, like that's how fundamental it is to Trump that he can never admit a mistake. He heard Jesper, and rather than say, "Oh, I heard Jesper," I'm sorry. Yeah, you got the mask on. I couldn't. Yeah, my bad. a lot of people. People all over the world are calling me Esper. It's one of the, if you look on Twitter, trending.
Get along with him. I get along with him fine. He's fine. Yeah, no problem.
I get along with him.
I consider firing everybody. At some point, that's what happens. Jennifer, do you have something, Jennifer? You're working so hard.
Do you think that there will be anyone else who leaves your cabinet after the election, sir?
So if we have the success, I think we have a silent majority, the likes of which has never been seen before. I think you read about it, where 62% of the people say they're not even telling the truth on polling, and where the polling is fake, where they do registered voters and where they do many more Democrats than they do Republicans. Same as happened last time. But this year, I think we have much more enthusiasm. Maybe those people back there would understand it better than anybody, but I think there's more enthusiasm for 2020 than there was even for 2016. And 2016 was a record. You found that out. And I believe there's
a record for enthusiasm.
There's much more enthusiasm now than there was even in 2016. We have a silent majority, the likes of which nobody has seen. I just looked, there are thousands of boats in lakes, rivers, and oceans, thousands and thousands of boats. It's called Boaters for Trump, Boaters for Trump Pence. There's signs all over. Some of the boats have 10 flags on them. They're incredible. There are thousands. We did nothing.
So you're allowed to have multiple flags? Is that... So how you get a vote, you get one absentee ballot per flag, I believe is the rule.
To do this is just generic. It just happened. Let me just tell you, I think...
Generic, it's generic. He's looking for the word organic. It's generic.
I think the level of enthusiasm for what we're doing, we want law and order, we want low taxes. They want to raise your taxes. They want to get rid of, they want to have open borders, and they want to defund the...
I thought he said thousands of votes in rivers, streams.
The police. How do you win on that? They want to go to Texas, and they want to go to Pennsylvania, and they want to stop fracking, and Ohio, they want to stop fracking. They're against steel. They're against anything with petroleum, the word petroleum in it.
Yeah,
you won't have
true.
a country. These people are crazy. Say, go ahead.
As far as your cabinet goes, do you think you'll see more turnover in your cabinet?
Well, I don't know. I think for next year, I mean, generally speaking, a lot of times I understand if we win, President will ask for the resignation of everybody and then bring back the people he wants. That's happened before, Steve. And I could see something like that happening. I think that makes sense. No, I have a very good cabinet. I mean, with few exceptions. I wouldn't say I'm thrilled with everybody, frankly. But I have, overall, I think we have a very good cabinet.
You know, you can get rid of the ones you're not thrilled with anytime, sir.
I think this, I will say this. No administration, none. No administration, first 3.5 years, has done anywhere near what we've done. 300, we will have at the end of the first term, 300 maybe more federal judges, including Court of Appeals, 2 Supreme Court justices. Nobody has done this. Take a look at what we've done. The biggest tax cuts in history, biggest regulation cuts
not true.
In history, rebuilt our military, took care of
military was not unbuilt.
Our vets. We have a 91% approval rating from the vets. Nobody's ever had a 91% approval
not true.
Rating before. I guarded the Second Amendment. They want to destroy the Second Amendment. Take a look at Kamala. They want to destroy the Second Amendment. And as you know, Joe is...
Yes, he did say generic for organic.
Has no control over anybody. He has no control over himself. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Well, President Trump tackling
Monty
a
Python
variety of issues, optimistic on
hold
the
on, what was that?
coronavirus
Strong
pandemic.
retail sales. We didn't see that.
Over anybody. He has no control over himself. Okay, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you.
Strong retail sales. Source. I can't read that. Something analytics. So, and the chart starts at 400,000 and ends at 480,000. I don't know what that is. Strong retail sales recovery source. Let's go to the C-SPAN because I want to see if we can see what that chart is. I like the charts. I'm all about the charts. Hold on a second here. Let's go. We have to refresh this page. Okay. Show me some charts. Show me some. C-SPAN has ads now. I blame Trump. Thank you.
A few questions, Steve, please.
Do we have any charts here?
History by far. States can't let unit price time high is great.
There we go.
Very tight. That means you're going
Okay,
to
that's a
make
big.
lot of
That's
calls,
auto
so
production.
that number is going to go up even the fastest. Last month, inflation was simply witnessed for the most part on the United States, and we're coming down single from April.
We're not going to see the retail one?
80 thought would even be possible with 188 countries.
There we go.
And if you see,
come back.
I call it, or last month that's at an all-time high, and you see that with the chart. This was previous to the plague. I call it the plague.
Is that the something Bureau something analytics? Does anybody know what chart he's looking at there? Anyway, the chart starts at 400,000. Anytime you see a chart that doesn't start at 0, that's a giveaway. Something fishy going on. But that could be valid because it does dip down to 380. So, and then go up to 488. Strong retail sales recovery. But what? So let's put in. Let's Google this. Let's see if we can figure this out. And analytics, and it's Bureau. Here we go. Retail Sales Bureau. Let's see. Census Bureau. Retail. Does the Census Bureau do retail sales? U.S. Census Bureau. It does. Okay. Well, hold on here. So that's July 20th. So we'd be looking at, hold on, business and industry. I thought the BLS took care of retail, but it doesn't matter. Monthly retail trade, here we go. Let's go to advanced monthly sale of retail and food service. This would have been issued June 20th, first quarter 220, July 220. Was released on August 14th. Okay, so this is it. This must be what he has right here. Let's take a look at the PDF. And percent change in retail and food service from previous month. July is down. So we had a big jump in retail sales earlier. We had that 17% jump. I don't know what that chart is. I'm sorry, guys. Let's see if we can find a 500,000 figure here somewhere. Adjusted retail and food service, motor vehicle and parts dealers. I don't know. I'm not sure. Let's see if we can get. Well, let's make this big. Census Bureau. Haver Analytics? Census Bureau and Haver. So Haver Analytics a thing? Haver Analytics. Oh, it is. Haver Analytics. Here we go. U.S. resale in July. Okay, cool. So let's take a look at what they've got here. U.S. industrial production continues rebound. We want the retail. So we're in retail. And retail food and no, so it didn't rebound. It's not where it was before. That's the first chart. Let me zoom in for you guys here. Hold on. Here we go. Let's make it like that, and then I can move. Can I bring that up again? Can I come over here? I think I can. Yeah, so here we go. So we can see. So this is, so I think what they've done here is they've taken that, because Census Bureau Haver Analytics. So this is the source. We found it. We've got a huge dip in 08, 09. This is the recession. And then we've got the huge dip here. That's currently, and we're back up at a 2.5 percentage change year to year. So it's a 2.5% change. So that's better. And then over here, general merchandise stores. In 20, we had 20 was going up, and then we had a huge dip. There's the dip, and this is for food sales, so groceries and stuff. And down, what's the second? General merchandise. So non-store retailers and then general merchandise, we're still way below. So what is she? Okay, so here's numbers. Let's zoom back out again. Hey, if you want to take off, guys, have a great weekend. I'm just we're walking through this, trying to sales of non-store. Is he just doing a year to year? Apparel and accessory store sales strengthens 5.7% in July. It's down 20% year over year, but that's 5.7% is up. After surging 98.8% in June because everything was closed in May, or rather in April, 80% in May. So everything closed in April, February, everything closed in April, and then came back in May. Furniture, okay, here's more charts. More charts down here, I didn't even see these. That's motor vehicles, furniture, retail spending, total retail, and I don't know. I don't know. Oh yeah, tell your friends. Producer Ann said, tell your friends if you have any friends. Nobody who watches this has any friends. People looking at charts like this don't have friends. Producer Joanna, come on, let's get real. U.S. import-exports continue to strengthen in July, still down 3%. Productivity rose 7.3%, annual rate in Q2. That's something to talk about. Okay, so that's our productivity's up because the hours fell faster than the output. Oh, my little thingy fell down. All right, I think that's it for today, kids. I haven't heard about anything else happening. So, guys, enjoy your Saturday. I'm going to try and make my garage work with Alexa, so that's going to be fun. Oh, this is an interesting look. It's Stupid Man. See my little curl, my little Stupid Man curl? Okay. Hey, guys, have a good one. Yep, toilet paper sales are up. And also, I want you all to have a good day. You guys have a good one. We will talk to you, well, probably tomorrow. We'll see you then. There's you guys. Here we go. Sorry, I'm blocking some of you. Let's see if I can. There we go. It's Producer Joanna. Bye-bye, Steph. Bye, Allison. Have a good weekend. Have a good time, babe. Bye, Rich. Stay cool, Rich. Not in the sense of being cool like Christopher Wilson cool. Just, God, it's hot outside. Okay. Oh, here's me. That's it. All right, kids, be good.